Hello there, this is Joe Polish, and I am here with a couple of my friends and awesome ladies. This is Crystal Palermo, and this is Bizzie Gold.
Hi.
And what's kind of funny is we're sitting here on yoga mats in the floor of my office, and upstairs you guys are doing a Buti Yoga, spelled B-U-T-I, certification. I want you to explain, what is Buti Yoga? What are you guys doing, and why do you do it?
I think I'm going to pass it over to Crystal because I do this all the time for my job because I'm the founder. So I actually love hearing other people's experience with Buti and what it means to them. I think it's actually even more profound typically than mine. So holler at me, Crystal.
Okay, so what is Buti, and then like what it means to you and what the experiences are kind of different answers. So when people say what is Buti Yoga, I usually describe it as yoga foundation with tribal dance and plyometrics to badass music.
Yeah.
But on a deeper level and what it does for you, I mean, Bizzie is the wonderful creator. She's super smart. She's a genius, straight up.
Like how smart?
She's Mensa, like she's a genius.
Okay.
No joke. And so she has this, she uses the core foundation of yoga and her Chinese medicine background and all kinds of Eastern medicine background to really tap into how the mind and the body works together through the physicality part, through lifestyle, eating habits. I mean, all of it is so all-encompassing, working through your chakras. I mean, it's a complete lifestyle. It's not just a fit, but you also get a six-pack and a nice booty along the way.
I've actually found one of the best ways to describe it is, you know, with most fitness methodologies, you're going there to get results. It's like, well, how soon will I have a six-pack, or how soon will my cellulite go away? And I've actually found that with Buti, you know, we still attract those types of customers, but they typically come there and they get so distracted by all of this other inner transformation that they arrive months later with the six-pack and they're like, holy shit, I forgot I was even looking for a six-pack. It like totally slipped my mind because now I have best friends, I've got confidence, and it became less about the journey to the grass is greener on the other side of the fence, and they actually enjoyed their own grass, which I think that's what Buti's all about, is learning to enjoy the journey itself and not constantly needing to be something else or strive to be something else, and to just be in a really powerful, secure way.
How would you guys describe what yoga is for someone who just doesn't even know? They really don't do yoga. They're watching this and they just don't even really know
You're
much
asking
about
us
yoga.
at the perfect time, actually, because we're here teaching a yoga teacher training. So Crystal's actually in the yoga teacher training, so she did get 100 on her test today, so want to holler at me what the answer to that question is?
Okay, so for what yoga is, it is the science of the mind and body. And it means to unite or to yoke. So that's, I mean, the solid definition behind yoga. And we did just complete 200 hours of yoga teacher training, so officially registered yoga teachers. And that's really the definition of it. I mean,
Absolutely. I mean, it's comprised of a bunch of different aspects of your life. So, I mean, the practice of yoga, people tend to think traditionally of just what we call hatha yoga, which is the practice of moving your body to unite the mind and body. But the practice of yoga extends far beyond that into study, meditation, the more scientific side like Ayurveda, and taking care of your body, not just physicality, but internally with cleansing techniques and purifying and eating the right foods, practicing proper lifestyle habits. So people think of yoga as more of just a movement practice, but it really goes far beyond that. And it's actually the science of uniting the mind and the body. So obviously we're humans, we move in our lives, we have to be strong to do certain functions in our lives and to stay healthy. So to do those things and always bring that mindful connection to why you're doing it, I think is where yoga succeeds, where a lot of other fitness methodologies fail. You know, like you could be mindlessly like doing squats forever and then you throw out your back and then you don't work out for 6 months. Here's the deal. I was on track to be an Olympian skier, and I found yoga by accident completely. And I had always been such a competitive person that was all about like how many squats I could do, how much weight I could lift, how fast I could sprint, like how many boys I could compete with. That's this girl's background. So it's not that I have anything against lifting weights. Like I did that for the majority of my life in terms of, you know, my fitness path. I've just found that for women, there's another way that gives you results beyond your wildest dreams and does it in a way that benefits all the areas of your life. Lifting weights without doing another practice that opens the hips or brings energetic cleansing to the body or brings that mindfulness back to who you are as a human, it leads you down a path that will inevitably lead to injury or self-punishment, just really not behaviors that are in line with being a woman. It's different. Being a woman is different than being a man. And I always kind of joke around, like, we're a very inclusive community. We have, in our Buti tribe, we have a lot of married lesbians. We actually have quite a few gay men that identify more as women. So I actually joke around a lot and I'm like, so you can do Buti if you have a vagina or energetically feel like you have a vagina. That's kind of my rule.
So is it mostly for women then?
It's a female practice. We do have men in classes on occasion, but I will say it always changes the vibe of the class. So it was funny, we actually taught a class at Lorna Jane, and there was one guy in the class that actually like runs entrepreneurial events for Dell in Austin. And when I was in the class, I haven't had this experience, but I actually caught myself having these moments of like there's a weird energy that wasn't feminine, and there was like a disconnect in our little energetic circle, and I kept noticing myself look over and kind of having this like, something's not right. And don't get me wrong, he was like in it to win it. He gave his all. He loved it and actually said that he wants to do it all the time because he thinks that, you know, it's the best way to move his body. He said that he came up with like 5 business ideas as soon as he left the class. So it's primarily for women. We like to keep that closed circle energy that feels safe because a lot of energetic shifts happen and emotions come up and people get angry, people get sad, people fall in love with themselves, which that's my favorite look to see in the mirror. I don't know if you've ever watched a woman fall in love with herself in the mirror without ego being involved, but it's like the most powerful thing. She got tears, I got tears. It just got all teary and I don't cry.
All right, so
Me neither.
You said Buti tribe, and I've gone through a couple of private sessions with Crystal. We even once she actually took a few of my friends through it, and it's like intense. It was a very hard workout.
Oot in Sanskrit is intense, and it's real intense.
What is the difference between Buti yoga and other forms of? Is there anything similar?
Yoga, people don't know this, was originally intended for men. Women weren't allowed to practice yoga. Yoga wasn't created for women. Women weren't allowed to be yoga gurus. That really happened over time as the practice evolved. And I really teach my students to understand that yoga is a living and breathing organism. And it's something that must grow and change and adapt with human needs. And I think a lot of forms of yoga haven't done that. They've like stuck to this very traditional, static, masculine practice that doesn't fit where our world is going. And I think we can all acknowledge that we're on track to really see women kind of take over positions in businesses, in the household that they haven't taken on before. I know for me, I work full-time, I'm the CEO of my business, and I'm meeting more and more women where that's the case. They're stepping into that role that was traditionally more masculine, and they need to have a movement practice and a lifestyle practice that reinforces that shift, because it's happening. I mean, I don't think anybody can deny it at this point. They call it the age of the divine feminine, and it's absolutely upon us in such a palpable way that it's why this practice came to me in this moment. I'm the first to admit that I didn't sit down one day and say, I want to create a business, I want to do this, and I want to do this. I channeled this stuff from beyond, and I am so grateful every day of my life that I was open to listening and believed enough in myself to listen to that message and write that shit down. Because I think a lot of people don't do that. They hear these things and they're like, well, that's just crazy talk. But when you're confident and secure in the inner workings of your brain, when an idea comes to you, and you know this, you write that shit down and you're like, yes, if I got that idea and it feels good in here and it feels good up here, I'm gonna make that shit happen. And that's exactly what I did with Buti. And the practice itself helped me get to that secure place where now I'm able to do that with other businesses. We've created a supplement line. We're now opening our first facility in Scottsdale, which you know, which is the first ever women's social club, which I'm sure you're going to ask us questions about that later. But getting to that place where you have the practice and the lifestyle that builds the confidence necessary to listen to those thoughts when they come into your head and see them through to being $1 million businesses, like that's what the world is all about.
Well, in my role, I have a marketing company, as you know, and I have consulted with some of the top fitness, exercise, supplement, nutrition, fitness people on the planet. Many of them are my clients, and so I've seen a lot of things over the years. And my sense out of Buti is it's going to be huge. So it's really cool to even do this little interview.
We're already pretty big.
Yeah, well, no,
We're kind of already a big D. We're already a big D.
Well, at least if you
getting
at least
bigger.
have that vision in your mind, that's kind of how you sort of make that happen. No, but so you talk about it as a Buti tribe. So here behind the cameras, there's
Yes.
many wonderful ladies that are Buti instructors.
So many.
That's a respectable thing. Wonderful ladies. I don't know how would you refer to the Buti tribe? What do you
Oh,
call it?
this is perfect. My microphone's in the way, but can you read that?
We call our girls Bodhisattvas.
Bodhisattvas, and what does it say underneath? I'm just like,
badass tribal warrior goddess.
there you go.
There you go. There you go. Awesome. So what happens to someone once they start doing that? Give me some stories of like some of your clients that started out, even your own story. Like when you started doing this, it was transformative. Because I know, I can joke around and stuff, but you're really you want to transform people that are out there. I mean, everyone here that's sitting here, they know this will transform someone's mindset, their life, their relationships. There's all kinds of this is a catalyst.
You said
Okay.
and he said ass by accident, but it also transforms your ass.
It also does transform your ass. I will be happy to share what it's done for me, sort of my story behind that. So I grew up as a dancer and a competitive dancer and cheerleader. So that was kind of my background. And then I went into corporate America and into working in higher education university. Got a master's degree, was working my way up through the corporate ladder, and just sort of taught fitness classes on the side just to keep in line with the dancer and fitness side of me. And plus, if fitness was my job, I was going to show up and do it every day because that's my ethic. And I got this opportunity to open a fitness studio as just sort of an on-the-side thing, as my own space to teach my classes, and stumbled upon Buti. Someone suggested it to me after I was displaying some of my assets and my dance moves.
Can you please show your asset for
Oh
2
my
seconds?
gosh.
I just showed my asset. Your asset's way better. You guys have to see this.
All right, here we go.
All right.
Wait,
How do I need to do this? Like this?
you gotta get all up in the camera.
And I love the fact that there's a mic.
And there's the mic.
Like that?
I mean, we joke around, what's your mind can, what do we
If
say?
I say,
What your mind can something
if my
your
mind,
ass
if my mind
achieve.
can imagine it, my ass can do it.
Yeah.
That is pretty much.
There was a
It's
way
all a
to
mental.
rhyme more,
It's
but
really
whatever.
connecting the mind and body. Anyway, so someone was like, "Oh my gosh, you should check out Buti Yoga," and I'm, what's that? And I look it up, and I've always kind of taken yoga on the side, but never had the time to dedicate to do 200 hours to actually become a yoga teacher, which is why I taught my dance fitness. And in reaching out, I'm keeping it real.
Okay, let's keep that. Shows
Yeah.
real.
So I contacted them because I just had opened my studio, and I was like, "Do you guys?" The only trainings they had going on were in places like Minnesota and Atlanta and all over the place. I was like, "Do you ever come out to the West Coast?" And happened to be on the
Pretty
phone
much
with
everywhere
Bizzie.
other than Arizona. You're like every other place except here.
Yeah, and so happened to be talking to Bizzie, and so she's like, "Actually, we're looking to come out to Scottsdale. Do you want to host?" So I hosted, and that training and just watching the videos building up to that, and I was trying to train my body and do Bizzie's like videos online, trying to like be prepared, because when you watch, Buti's not something to watch, it's something to do.
Yeah.
You watch it and you're like, nope, no way, can't do that, that looks so hard. And you get into a class and you go through the movement and you that's part of the transformation, is like, I am a badass, like I can't believe I just did that stuff. I've been watching the last couple days, Bizzie's been teaching some of the most intense classes I've ever seen you teach. And I look around the room at 20 girls who are totally hanging. And that's why she's been so aggressive with us, because she's like, "Oh, you think you can still go? Let's go a little harder." Like, what are you going to do now? And nobody falls out. So that's been really impressive. But anyway, what it really helped me
It's
do.
because I believe in you all so much.
Well, and it helped awaken that when Bizzie was talking about waking up the confidence and this is divine feminine. What that meant for me, especially working in corporate America, and I train leadership, I train diversity and women in leadership, and women have always been taught historically that in order to find a place at the table, they need to act like a man. Mm-hmm. They have to be able to hang with the boys. And I grew up with 6 brothers. That's certainly my upbringing, was to be able to hang with the boys, which is why I have the sense of, the slightly inappropriate side of me. And I realized that doesn't have to look like a man to have a seat at the table. In fact, it's finding the divine feminine, even if that means as a mother or as a wife or as a sister or a really great girlfriend. I mean, I never understood the value of girlfriends until I found Buti, and I have found
probably the
oh
most,
my gosh,
it's the most powerful
and
thing
I'll
about
never
Buti.
ever forget it again, and I will share it with as many women as I can bring into that circle, because there is nothing like talking to your girlfriends through a relationship challenge or a parenting challenge. You go, becoming a single mom or doing any of these challenging things that women go through, and we think we have to do it by ourselves because we're taught to be tough and to not show weakness, and we're so competitive. I grew up dancing competitively. It was all about one-upping and making the team and making the cut, and that's just not the environment that Buti creates. And you don't even have to say, you don't have to set it up that way. It just vibes that way. That's the vibration. That's why that masculine energy sort of just throws it off. It's just a little different.
And the practice itself kind of weeds that out. The people that aren't ready to arrive at that place of not cutting other women down and being competitive, they come to the class and they're like, oh my God, that was totally terrible. I'm never going back ever again.
I've actually never had that happen.
Oh my God, it happened to me with I guess we're just gonna go here. Here we go. New York, I was going to teach this master class that was for the press. And a well-known blogger in New York that I won't name the blog, but she came to take my class. And right off the bat, I asked her a couple questions and was so nice to her, really welcoming. I'm definitely somebody that goes out of my way to be welcoming and make sure everyone in my class has made eye contact with me and knows who I am. And right off the bat, I was like, so, what do you typically do for your workouts? And she was like, oh, I'm a marathon runner. And I was like, ooh, so you mean you like to beat yourself up in your head while you run for 26 miles with nobody else around? I was like, this is not going to go well for me. So I asked her a few more questions and tried to just give her as many tips as I could. And then, of course, she went to the back of the class. And the class was, the most packed sardine can, already sweaty before we even started. And she ended up writing me this terrible review, the worst review of all time. And her perception of the class was so skewed by where she was as a human being that a lot of it, the facts were actually not correct. Her brain had actually made her perceive the class as being a way that it absolutely wasn't, even down to concrete, tangible details. So I've seen that happen, and actually it was the outcry from our customer base was so huge in response to this terrible write-up that the New York Times did a write-up on this piece, calling out the blog and saying you should probably stop doing that piece. It's probably not yogi-minded, considering 500 people commented on this in one day and said, this is a life-changing practice, how dare you, we know Bizzie. She said I was teaching in a string bikini. I wasn't. Who would do that? I would totally do that, but I wasn't. I wasn't in this. That time I was wearing Lululemon. It was the one time where I was like, of course this time when I went on my way to wear clothes, now I'm wearing a bikini. That's not cool, man.
I put pants on
That is
today.
totally cool. Well, you both are mothers. How has this made you a better mother?
Yes. Oof. It's made me a better mother because I now understand the value of surrounding yourself with powerful women and teaching the confidence and the drive to be secure without, and I don't mean this in a feminist, you don't need a man, because I have a husband, I'm married to him, he's amazing, I'm all about the partnership. But partnerships are truly wonderful when you're so secure and independent on your own that you're choosing to arrive and be with that person. You don't need that person. There's no codependency. And the fact that I'm able to now be around women that understand that and live their lives that way helps me continue to reinforce that with my daughter. My son, same thing. I will absolutely treat him the same way, to be raised with the same morals, the same ideologies, how to, attract the type of woman that, attract a woman like his mama that's nice and secure. Maybe we'll just, when he gets older, we'll just bring him right into the Bodhisattva tribe. He can pick a girlfriend. We can do prearranged Buti marriages. Just kidding, we're not gonna do that. But it's made me more secure in every aspect of motherhood. And for me, running a business, it's made me really secure in the fact that I don't have to feel guilty for realizing my entrepreneurial dream. which I think a lot of women struggle with. They have this great idea, but they're like, oh, but I have to stay at home with the kids. I can't go do this. You know, it's not right. The kids need me here. My husband's working. That manifests in so many terrible ways. And I see clients with this all the time where they have terrible sex lives with their husbands. And as soon as I talk to them about it, we find out that they had this whole career path in their head when they met their husband. Then they got pregnant, and that career path just kind of like sat right in their second chakra. And they never were able to fully realize it. They didn't like give birth to this idea. They gave birth to a kid instead, and then we're like, we're just gonna leave you in here stagnant. And that manifests as like a terrible sex life. A lot of times infertility if they try to have another kid. It just really causes energetic problems there. So I love helping women get past the mommy guilt, and the struggle is real because I travel a lot, and I have to constantly be, you know, even reinforcing that to myself that it's okay to do this, and it's really just socialization leading up to this that's made us think that it's not.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
That's one of my favorite things.
That's very cool.
What
so
about you?
You have a 5-year-old daughter, Liv. She's wonderful.
Yeah,
and,
thank you.
And you're pretty. You know, I mean, I've watched you and I've seen how you've kind of evolved through this whole process with Buti Yoga, but from an outsider's perspective. So.
So I mean, having a daughter, I'm a girl who grew up with all boys, so that was so super foreign to me. I mean, I don't even have a lot of female cousins. Like, it was really, really new for me. And what I notice now that Buti does for me, and this is more from the lifestyle side, is I am really mindful and really aware around the words that I use when I talk about myself, the way I look at my body, the way I talk about my body, the way I talk to my daughter about her body, because now she's starting to ask questions, or what foods really fuel you and make you feel good and make you feel happy, and what might make you feel down and dry. So I'm a better parent from a whole, just my level of awareness and my ability to remain calm and know that I can do things like deep breathing, or I can go Buti if I need to take a break and get some stress out, or that it's, but to really be watchful. It's amazing how young body shaming can start with women. And, you know, I can't say that I experienced a ton of body shame, but a lot of conservative, you know, my mom was very conservative about that. It was like a really no, and growing up around all boys, it wasn't something very free. And
that manifests the same way as an adult as the body shaming itself.
Right. So I'm trying to now be more mindful so that my daughter, it has a jump start on that. So it's not something that she realizes when she's 30, but something she always knows to be true about herself and the way she views other women, and that it's not a comparison, and that we're all going to look different from one day to the next. And knowing that you're making the right choices that make you feel good, that give you the energy to play, or that help you learn better, that make you sleep really well, that those are the things that's her choice. And when she decides to eat something that's not great, and she talks to me about how she's feeling, I help remind her what those choices are like. So I definitely feel like my awareness and accountability on that side from a life, and then obviously the confidence and all of that.
How quickly into, because I don't even know the answer, how quickly into your experience with Buti Yoga did you go grain-free, dairy-free, and start doing the meal plans?
So I started teaching in February, and when was it? I think you did a 30-day slim down.
A 30 something.
Yep. In July. So there was a few months, and I'm Italian.
Was that last year? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm Italian, and I grew up eating pasta and bread with like all the time. And I wasn't necessarily out of shape in doing Buti because I've been a fitness instructor, you know, so it wasn't something that it was like, oh, I really want to lose weight. But I was so curious reading these forums and reading how women were, I mean, Bizzie overcame she had lupus and was able to overcome that, and just through the foods that she's eating. And that physical activity. And I'm reading the forum, the forum in the Buti tribe that is involved in this, the transformations they were experiencing on some, from anxiety, depression, addictions, eating disorder, thyroid issue. I mean, so many things that were related directly to taking those foods. I did it out of pure curiosity, like what would happen if I just tried to not, like, are these, like, because sometimes, honestly, I would read it and be like, oh, I'm so sure, like, in 3 days you felt like this, or you accidentally ate a grain and your whole body, like, exploded. You know, it was like, that's a little dramatic.
Everybody thinks that.
I really thought it was BS. And then I went into the 30-day slim down, and I had a day, like, I accidentally ate a green bean or something stupid and minor, and it was physically painful. When I took that stuff out, when you try to put it back in your body, it didn't feel good. And then it would take 3 or 4 days, and it wasn't necessarily that I always feel like the effects of it in those 3 or 4 days. It's once you get back to a clean state and you're like, I just felt like a superhero. I feel like a machine, a
And that's
well-oiled
the way
machine.
everybody's supposed to feel all the time, and we get so gunked up with toxins and inflammation that we forget what we're supposed to feel like, or possibly we've never known what you're supposed to feel like because you've been eating that way since you were a little kid.
Since, I mean, generation, like
And
when
actually,
I told
my kids have never had grains or dairy, which I'm like super pumped on, and I know that you're trying.
I'm
so
working
hard.
on it. And when I told my family what I was doing with my lifestyle, they were like, "Well, what are you gonna eat? Like, there's nothing else." And I actually love everything I eat. I love food more now than ever before.
So is Buti about teaching like how to eat, and I mean, like, what are all the things it encompasses?
It's a lot.
Movement, nutrition,
Lifestyle.
lifestyle. Well, the lifestyle encompasses all of it. So, I mean, movement, how you eat, how you educate yourself, how you treat the people around you, and how you treat yourself.
Okay, so you mentioned confidence, and I think every human being will function. I mean, I think the 2 most important things to protect in life, speaking from being an entrepreneur, are your confidence and your gratitude, because you don't do anything well in life without confidence, unless you're lucky. I mean, you don't have to, sometimes confidence can be overrated, and you can be really scared and still be, competent doing something, but it feels good when you're confident. And then, but if you have all of the access to relationships and money and whatever, but you don't have gratitude, then you can still be a miserable bastard. So
Absolutely.
I know that you instill those things deeply with your community, with your beauty tribe and everything. So for someone watching this, that they would even feel self-conscious walking into, they're out of shape, or they don't feel good about how they look. They're shy. What would you say to them to get them into this? Because I know this can be transformative. So I want you to speak to the person that's out there going, well, yeah, that sounds good, and you guys seem to have like a really cool little
You
group
guys
that-
and all of your 6-pack abs.
Yeah, right.
Here's the thing. Most yoga classes, and obviously I've taught all different styles of fitness and yoga leading up to this. And there's this whole mentality of that's where I put my mat, which is what happens at pretty much every class, where the whole class is so competitive where if you're new and you put your mat down, someone all of a sudden is like eyeballing you and being like, that's where I put my mat, you're gonna have to go to the back. That whole mentality is not allowed in a Buti class. That is instilled in all of our instructors during training. It is just absolutely not tolerated. We have a 0 tolerance policy. We also have a 0 tolerance policy for women talking poorly of the people around them, cutting people down. So we really do everything that we can to cultivate this environment where if you're walking into a Buti class, every instructor is going to look you in the eyes, they're going to give you a hug, and you're going to immediately know that there's no judgment. And I think it's very rare that that type of space is genuinely created. I think people try a lot, and a lot of times the facilitator doesn't really live that life herself. But that's one thing that I'll say for Bodhisattvas, and it's something that we work really hard on cultivating our instructors to really step into that leadership role. And I think it's because of my gratitude. I am so grateful for every woman that comes to me to get trained. Bikram really is all about, this is me, I'm your guru, all in his place of ego, right? His solar plexus chakra, where your confidence comes from, needs some serious mother effing balance, okay? So for me, and Crystal and I were just talking about this today, when an instructor comes to me, every time I leave a training, my heart would be overflowing if every single instructor left there teaching better than me. That is my goal. I always want everyone to be even better than me. That would make my heart completely overflow. So I go out of my way to instill that in instructors from the moment that they step foot in any of my certifications. And then they pass that on and they build their own tribes, and they are then becoming their own guru, and these tribes are getting built under them. Like, I don't need anything to come back to me other than for these women to keep passing that on to other women. That's what everything is all about for me. And because that's instilled in them in training, they know how important it is to cultivate that environment. So I can say with 100% certainty, wherever you are in the world, you will never step foot in a Buti class and feel like you are ostracized, that you are not enough, that you are overweight. It will never happen, because I am just such a stickler for that. It's so important, because you need to love where you are right now, whether you have 40 pounds to lose, you have stretch marks, you've got a birthmark. You have to look yourself in the mirror and love yourself right now, otherwise you won't go anywhere. It'll never happen. the grass will always be greener, and you'll be so on the mission to always be something else that you'll never be.
Yeah, and that judgment-free and criticism-free zone, it has, what I see is it has less to do with them actually judging each other and more to do with you're not going to treat yourself like that. We are far, far more hard on ourselves than we would ever be to other people, especially in particular women. And we have these flaws, and I mean, I've had a baby. I gained 65 pounds in my pregnancy despite working out and thinking that I was eating really well, and then lost it all pretty rapidly. So, you know, my stomach's not like this perfect little smooth, tight, whatever, and it took a lot of courage and getting over myself to take my shirt off and teach in a sports bra in class, which is so that they can see the spiral movement, they can see what's happening and how I'm using my muscles. And I can't tell you how many women have told me how inspiring that was to see that, and they felt more, and I would see more and more in every class women feeling more comfortable with their bodies, even if it doesn't look exactly what I think perfect should look like, that they love you even more for it, and that I would love myself even more for it. And now, you know.
And women really start to embrace that in class. I mean, you'll see 15 minutes, 20 minutes in, there's always that one moment where the whole energy shifts and you have women that are like, F it, I'm taking off my shirt, like whatever. I thought that I was gonna wear these Lululemon compression pants, but I'm gonna go change into my underwear. I've literally had a woman in the middle of class, like a 60-year-old African-American woman in a class like packed in Culver City, go, woo! And take off her pants and just like do it in a thong for the rest of the time. And people around her were like, I don't know what's happening. And I was like, let's go with it, come on, like focus back on the mirror. This is happening right now. And there's no judgment. It's like, I want people to have that moment where they're like, oh my God, no one's judging me. I get to just be and like shake. I tell people all the time in class, like, I do photo shoots a lot. I'm in magazines, and when I stand up and I flex, like, sure, six-pack abs. As soon as I bend over, like, I've had 2 kids. And I'm really cool on camera about showing people that. Like, I don't try to pretend that I always look perfect. I can make myself look perfect for a photo shoot, but that is not the case when I bend over, and there's just skin that exists that I don't need to get rid of to feel like a whole person. That's not the way it is. And I think a lot of trainers today go out of their way to, if they have a baby, they like go into hiding for 6 months and they like magically emerge with these like six-pack abs. People all the time go on our online streaming content and they're like, I mean, girls that clearly are not ready to join the tribe yet, I'll say that nicely, and will write terrible things about me or my body on the forum. And it's because I literally gave birth to my second child, and a week later I started filming workouts and just showed like the whole transition back. Didn't hide it, didn't wear a shirt. I was like, all right guys, like this is happening. So just meet me on the mat. It's a little bit jiggly today. We're working on it. And then magically one day I had six-pack abs again. But they got to see the whole process, and
no, that's great though.
That converted a lot of customers for me that were like, yes, thank you for actually showing us that that's possible, because a lot of people don't get to see that transition.
Well, and a lot of people don't hear about it, which is why it's great that we have all this recorded so that everyone out there. So who's this for and who's this not for?
It is for every woman that is ready to show up and connect with other women and become an empowered, badass tribal warrior goddess. Any woman.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, any woman, that's it. The person that it's not for is the person that is going there and unwilling to do the work required to become an empowered badass. And that's not just physical. Like, you can't just show up and like do the physical part and then go home and be a shitty person. That's not allowed. And we do everything we can to instill that in everybody. So if you're willing to show up and do the work, you might not look perfect doing it for months on end, but if you're willing to show up and you're doing the work and you're going home and you're living that life with your family, with yourself in the mirror, with your kids, at your job, with your coworkers, you're welcome in our tribe anytime.
So have you seen a lot of examples of women that have come in that were, I guess, for lack of a better word, hating life? They weren't enjoying their life. And then,
every damn day. What, like all the time?
No, but I mean that have really transformed from like being really depressed, really just hating life, to just like, wow, this was the vehicle that got me to a whole nother mindset, a whole nother level.
Absolutely, and typically we see those women become instructors because they see it transform their lives in such a powerful way that they come to me and they're like, I just realized that my dream is to not work in corporate anymore and just do this because it's so powerful as a healing tool that this is all I want to do with my life. So I've seen, at this point now, thousands of stories. Then I get to have customers share stuff with me online. I mean, I think some of the most powerful ones are women. I've known plenty of clients that have been, multiple times attempted suicide because of unstable upbringing, problems with addiction or problems with just absolutely no grounded self-confidence, constantly needing that external validation. And their practice with Buti is the first time that they realize that the only validation that really matters, that will keep you going forever and make you feel stable, comes from within. There's nothing around you that can make you feel like you're enough. It has to come from the inside.
So in your world, you do it on the mat. You do it in the form of Buti Yoga, but I think this is so much more than just exercise.
And we do it in a community, which I think is really important, because I'll use an example. I have one client that had lost a daughter, and it was obviously a very traumatizing experience for her and for her husband. And the way that she coped with all the pain and anguish was to run, right? Which, for all intents and purposes, like, oh, great, you're being healthy, you're going out and running every day. And she came to me and just couldn't get results. She was like, I'm just, I run all the time, I eat so healthy, my body won't change. And I asked her, what do you think about when you run? And she was like, I don't know, I just, I'm like focused on like hearing my feet on the pavement, whatever, like the same bullshit story she had told everybody else when they asked her. And I said, you don't think there's any chance that you use your time running to beat yourself up for everything that could have possibly happened to lead up to your daughter's death? And she sat there and she was like, oh my God, that's exactly why I run. It was basically like she was abusing herself. Even though she thought that that was her healthy behavior to pull her out of it, sometimes when you do something that's completely alone, even though you're going there with the best intentions and you're moving your body, you're actually using that time to reinforce the bad behavior. Mm-hmm. Where Buti succeeds, where other programs fail, is you're not just showing up on your mat. You are connected to every single person's energy in the room, and if the instructor or if another student that's been there for a long time sees that you're not connecting with everybody, they will like grab you, they'll look at you and they'll be like, hey girl, come on, look in the mirror, like this, we're all here for each other. So everyone takes on that leadership role themselves because that's what we reinforce. So there's one thing, it's one thing to go to the gym and do a practice that helps, pull you out of a negative behavior. As long as you have somebody like watching you to make sure that you're not bringing that negative behavior into this new like healthy lifestyle. And that's where Buti is just
And from
amazing.
An energetic standpoint, it's nothing. I've worked out and I've even done lots, and dancing is definitely a zone state for me, like where I don't think about anything else, and that's certainly serves that purpose. But the science behind the movement and the intention and the chakras and the breath work and even the like down to the music and the vibe. Even if you do it by yourself, I'm so excited for class today. But even doing it at home when I am traveling, or if I'm at home and I need to like shake it off and I don't have access to a class right now, and I can pull up, and I know there's some of my favorites of Bizzie's tone videos that I can go online and pull that up and get that physical and that energetic and breath practice in. And I also just got my workout in for the day. But for me, the workout aspect of it is totally like second, maybe third, maybe like
third.
It's a bystander to what the practice does for you.
I think somebody described it really well. Buti is my morning coffee and my therapist. It's like that's what gets me up in the morning. And my drug. It's my for a lot of women, thousands of women, in fact. Buti is their everything, and it's my everything. And I created it organically because it was something that found me, and then I just look at myself as a caretaker of the practice. But it's my everything. My whole life starts to fall apart if I don't have this practice. I'm a jerk if I can't Buti.
Wow.
Not nice.
Okay, so we've got all these awesome women that are behind the cameras that actually teach, they instruct. How do people find a Buti class? How do they find them?
ButiYoga.com, ButiYoga.com. That's probably the best place. We have a class finder where you can look for a class in your area. You can also sign up for an instructor training. We do offer instructor trainings all over, but we are opening our facility in Scottsdale, which will be our headquarters, so we'll be doing consistent trainings there every week.
So you said, what are you going to call that place?
It's called B-Tribe.
Okay, and what is it? What is more than just a center where someone goes and
Absolutely.
does Buti yoga?
It's a women's social club, which I think really speaks to what's been created kind of in this like the internet version of Buti, we have this amazing community and network of empowered badasses that do the practice, but the practice makes way and is the catalyst for this amazing life. And to find a way to house all of the different inner workings of that life together so that women can enjoy this life together and have their like girl tribe time, that was really what I was trying to go for when I built this facility. And for me, you know, men have had like men's clubs forever. They've got like cigar clubs and golf clubs and different types of men's groups that really those relationships for a lot of people, I mean, if you even look at just our top politicians, a lot of them were all part of the same like men's secret societies, and that's how they got to where they are today. And there aren't quite as many of those that are productive for women. And I really wanted to create a facility that helps you become that, what I view as a complete woman, where it's not just, yeah, I look hot, look at me, I've got six-pack abs. It's, I'm super hot, but I'm hot also on the inside. I caretake other people. I educate myself. I'm constantly striving to transform my life and better all aspects of my life. So I wanted to create a facility where the movement is that catalyst, but the social club is where, for me, like all the heart of the facility is. We're going to have, if you're a club member, you get access to our whole social events calendar, which includes, you know, movie screenings, visiting public speakers, some of the most amazing, empowering speakers all over the world, private book signings. So it's really, it's a chance for us to curate some of the best knowledge that exists in the world, which, you know, you're probably going to be helping with that. Some of the best knowledge that there is, and give it to these women in a way that is packaged for them to really absorb it the fastest, because we know how these women live their lives, how they want to live their lives, so we can curate that content for them to make sure that, you know, their lives are complete and that every day they're becoming a better person. And what does Buti mean? We didn't even tell anybody that. That one's pretty crucial.
It is an Indian Maharathi word for the cure to something hidden or kept secret.
And it was used in reference to Ayurvedic herbs. So here's the deal. I used to be a publicist and I did marketing and branding. So when I first came up with the name, it actually, Buti, B-U-T-I, came to me in my sleep, and I woke up and was like, oh my God, I gotta write this down. I don't know what it means, but this is what it's called. And prior to that, I'd been calling it Not Your Mama's Yoga, because it's so not your mama's yoga.
Except it is totally your mama's yoga.
Yeah, well, now it's lots of
Now
mom's
lots
yoga.
of mama's yoga.
But we're a new type of mom. So for me, I knew that it had to be Buti, and I also knew from that PR and marketing perspective that it was a word that people would latch onto in a good or bad way. Either way, it would be like, Buti, are you talking about a butt? Are you like, what are you talking about? It's a word that is memorable. Mm-hmm. And it's so bizarre. I looked on Google. I woke up in the middle of the night, looked on Google to figure out, you know, different definitions for the word Buti, spelled D-U-T-I. And on the very first page, like number 3, it had this whole passage about Ayurvedic herbs and how they were considered jadi booty. And I was like, oh my God, what is, like, and I kept reading, and Buti was all about, and it even had a picture of an herb, like a bulbous root herb that was hidden beneath all these different layers, and that the royalty would try to hide, like keep the locations of these herbs secret from the regular folk, if you will, and charge a premium for these herbs. And that was really something that resonated with me, because I think where everyone tries to sell this, like, you need this external thing to make you a better person, and I'm just naturally an industry disruptor by nature, and I'm here to tell you that what is going to cure you is on the inside. Nobody can sell it to you. It's not in a book. It's not in a program. It's in you, and you just have to break through enough of the stuck energy and build the confidence to realize that it's there. So that word really resonated with me, and then I went back to show somebody else like 3 days later, and it was like page 25 on Google. And I was like, what? You were just randomly there when I needed you to be there, and now you're page 25? Because I wouldn't have had the patience to go to page 25. No. So then Buti might not have ever existed.
Wow. So these shirts, can you get these at
you can, oh yeah.
ButiYoga.com?
You
Explain
can.
this shirt. What's the deal?
So,
Just trying to be funny here?
I mean, I think it's more than that. For us, we're not basic. I think for me, I'm so sick of seeing all these spiritual leaders that present themselves in a way that I feel like anybody in their right mind, which apparently is not the case because some of them are on the New York Times bestseller list, anyone that's truly grounded and secure can look at them and be like, wow, you're so not authentic. Listening to you is literally making me want to vomit, which I feel like is the majority of what's going on right now. And for me, I've never, even when I taught yoga classes, I wouldn't read from like the Yoga Sutras. I wouldn't read them scriptures at the end of class. I wanted them to be in their own body and let their own thoughts, you know, take over and inspire them. When we say I'm into spiritual shit, I don't need to tell you how fucking cool I am. I'm just fucking cool. Like, I don't need to sit here and be like, your chakra is looking really close today. Can we work on that chakra? I need you to bring some energy and attention. Can you shine your heart light, please?
That's not at all how Bizzie actually gives advice. She's like, get your shit together.
I'm like,
Get over it.
listen,
This is your stuck.
Here's the real shit right now. You're kind of being an asshole. Can you get in child's pose, please? I might spank you if you keep this up.
That is what, yes, that's what yoga training
So
is.
to
awesome.
me,
I love it.
this is claiming that understanding that anybody can have a spiritual practice, and just because our butts shake in the middle of class doesn't mean it's stripper yoga, and it doesn't mean that we're overly sexual. It doesn't mean any of that. In fact, that shit is so tribal. Please go look it up. The next person that tells me that we're twerking or it's not tribal, like, go on YouTube. Stop being an idiot. That's all I'm asking you to do. Just go look at any type of tribal dance. So to me, this is just owning that moment of, I can be whatever I want to be, but I don't need to talk to you about it. I don't need to pretend to be something I'm not. I'm just into spiritual shit. Leave me alone.
So 5 to 10 years from now, where do you see this thing? Because as you said earlier, you know, we're kind of a big deal. Other countries, like right now, where is this? Because there's a lot of people that would be really intrigued by this, but they can't find a booty class. So
Absolutely.
Can they find it online? And where do you think this is going to go?
So you can take online classes from anywhere. And I know that we talked about how, you know, you can kind of beat yourself up when you're on your mat by yourself. But doing our online classes, I mean, I'm like right there with you. And I talk to you as if I'm seriously like right here. I joke around with you. And you won't feel like you're alone. So
and if you're
you happen to be,
can actually do one if you
oh,
don't
for
want to go
sure.
on an energetic
And actually, a lot of our instructors do allow guys in their classes. It's just kind of it's up to them at their discretion. So if you're in a place that doesn't have a physical class, you can do our online classes. We do ship our DVDs internationally. We have 4 different DVD sets, all varying skill levels, and we have kind of a nice breakdown of, you know, how to assess your skill level. We do also offer those certification programs, and we do have some coming up in Europe. We have classes pretty consistently across Europe. We have classes in the Philippines, in Latin America, all over Canada, and we're rapidly growing. So for us, it's, you know, if you have a studio or you want to get certified, email us on the website, hit our contact form. Just like where Crystal found us and we set up a training for her. I mean, she set up a training and now Arizona is our #1 consumer demographic. So you might be that person. Just email us. We love to expand our tribe. So please, if you're interested, we will find a way to get a certification to you no matter what country you're in. I get asked to go all over, and
that's
Crystal's going to be going all over for me so that I can stay at home and be a mom.
So if you both were to get in a physical fight with each other, who do you think would win?
We wouldn't get in a physical fight with each other.
We'd end up cuddling. That's what would happen.
Well, see, I just
definitely.
wanted to test and see.
I feel like I'd end up being the little spoon. Can I? Am I the little spoon?
You are technically the smallest.
I'm the little spoon. We would.
Although you were the.
We might
you
like
were the bigger spoon
we might like
yesterday
fun
in our
like
chair.
tribal fight, like dance fight. We'll get in like a Will Ferrell like dance battle.
But like physically, like
And
we
then
do, you know, we can hang pretty well with each other, which is why we feed off of each other so well.
We do. We're like wonder twins.
Awesome. So, any famous last words?
Famous last words are, I just want every woman to know that they're enough. And if you show up and you join our tribe, I guarantee your life is going to change. There's no way it won't. The only way that it won't is if you don't allow it to change. So there's your that. If you fail, that shit's on you. Show up. I'm there for you. Doesn't matter who you are, where you're from. I'm there for you. Crystal's there for you. And you've got thousands of women there for you. So I hope that you step out of your comfort zone. And if you find yourself judging the practice, that's a clear sign that you need it more than anybody. So if you find yourself judging or it feels really uncomfortable to you, please sign up immediately. Like, the more you hate me, the more you need to get your ass on the mat. That's how I feel. Those are my famous last words. If you hate me, please come right now.
That's awesome.
I think they'd love you. And I guess mine would be that we do not have to, we're not intended to go through life alone. We're not intended to struggle by ourselves. We're not intended to compete, to one up, to step on each other, to be the one standing alone at the top. So there's always things in life on every level, and we're meant to do this together. We're really meant to do this as a tribe and to connect. You can look back as far as you want into history, and you would find that.
And we're one of the few cultures that's truly lost that every step along the way.
Which is why Buti's magic. I mean, it's
Buti
magic.
is completely magic. And to bring it back to your confidence and gratitude, to be in that tribal environment, that is to interact with women on a big scale like that on a day-to-day basis and show up with sincerity every day, you have to have confidence and absolute gratitude every day.
And abs on fleek.
Awesome.
Those were your last words. I knew you had to end it with something like that.
So what I will say, well, first off, is great chat with you both. You're doing awesome stuff, and I know Buti's going to be massive. And for people that have never experienced this before, check out butiyoga.com. And the center in Scottsdale is going to be opening up very soon.
July 1st.
And it'll be in Arizona if you have an opportunity, and that's it. So thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thanks, Joe.